Hey, practice owners. We're back with another in the series we're calling Coming Back Stronger. And I've got a really interesting guest, Jordon Comstock from Boom Cloud. And Jordan's going to share with us, something that might not seem intuitive at first in the context of coming back stronger, but membership programs. And not necessarily, hey, here's how you solve everything, get a membership program, but kind of dig a little bit deep into what you can look at today that shows some weaknesses maybe in your cash flow and maybe PPOs that you take that you shouldn't, and it's a good time. I won't steal Jordan's thunder, but some things you can be looking at today, nuts and boltsy, that you can fix now and then transition to what you can do when you come back, so you've laid the groundwork for coming back stronger when it's 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it turns out to come back. Yeah. So Jordan, how you doing?
Doing good, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So you're in Utah.
I'm in Utah along with everybody else in the dental tech side of things.
Right. Yeah. And so you guys are, you're kind of shut down. I know you were telling me with so many tech people, it's just, it's kind of business as usual in some, to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah. For us, everyone's working full time here at Boom Cloud, helping our customers, the ones that are open, and helping new signups and things like that. So yeah, my team's here. We got some people that are working remote. And some people that are in the office. So we're still going.
And it, dentistry obviously doesn't work that way. So I always say, and I'm stealing this from somebody, I just can't remember who to give credit to, but they said, there are very few professions where you touch your customer. And, like hair salons or dentists, you're touching a customer, which is really, so in this heightened awareness world of viruses and aerosols, there are a lot of docs who are they're shut down. So there's no touching your customers right now. But you're going to. I mean, it's going to come back to where, even with teledentistry and all that kind of technical stuff, you're still going to be seeing patients, live patients, and you're going to be, you're going to change that part of what you do. But along with it are a lot of business functions and the ways you do things in your business. And one of those, I know we've talked before about membership programs, but we talked earlier, there are a couple things that you can be doing today. You're shut down, you're not seeing patients, you still own a business. I mean, it's still, bills are still coming in. Customers are still out there waiting to see, what happens when they come back. But they're going to come back with a little different perspective on your business. And there's the clinical side of that, one of those being, again, aerosols and infection control and all that stuff that you're comfortable with as somebody who went to dental school. But on the business side, maybe not so much. So, we were talking earlier, there are a couple things that a practice owner can look at today and dig into that might help, illuminate some things that really can be fixed before they start coming back, that has an ongoing or, kind of a perpetual effect versus fixing it now and, we go back to normal. So what are a couple of those things they can be looking at today, right now?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that a practice can look at now, if they're not in the office and work with patients, is looking at their cash flow statements or the cash flow reports in QuickBooks or whatever accounting technology you use for your practice. That's the first thing that I would do. In fact, when I was I used to manage my dad's dental lab, Steve, and I managed it during the recession, and that's the first thing that I started doing at the time a business manager, was digging into the cash flow, the history of what we looked at or looked like. 3 months back, looked at, the cadence of cash flow. And, for me, when I was managing a dental lab, I saw some problems that we needed to address and fix. And I think for you practice owners out there, that's a wonderful skill to learn and to understand is your practice's cash flow. In fact, there's a quote out there that says, cash flow is one of the most important skills in a business, but in an economic downturn, it becomes the number one most important skills. It becomes even more of a critical task. So I would dig into my cash flow and see what that looks like and how I could fix that. And really what cash flow is the timing of money, is how I define it. It's the timing of money, meaning when does that money come in? And when it comes in, is it coming in on time in regards to making payroll and other large expenses like rent or equipment loans, things like that? That's what you need to figure out and figure out, hey, the cadence of money is coming in, and it's coming in after payroll or after, whatever, and that's causing us problems, right? That's really what I'd be digging into right now. If I'm not, cutting teeth,
right,
working with patients, I would be looking specifically at cash flow and those patterns and thinking about how I could create a better system for my business. Another note on that would be, I would also be looking at some PPO plans that you may be signed up with, and looking at which PPO plans are causing you the biggest headache in regards to two things: cash flow and profit margins. Are they making you discount a large amount of some of your most common procedures, and are they not paying on time, or are they delaying payment in a way that hurts your cash flow? Which, in my opinion, Steve, and I think a lot of business people will agree with me, cash flow and profit margins are like the two most sacred things in business. You don't want people messing with those things or controlling those things. So that's the first thing that I would do as a business owner during this time.
So what that does is, and just being a business guy or business guys, I think practice owners they're focused on doing the treatment. And so there's two huge things that I always have seen that get lost in that. And it's before the treatment and after the treatment. So before the treatment, it's all the things you got to do and the cost to get that patient in the chair.
Sure.
However you want to phrase it, butts in the chair. And there's marketing, and there's positioning, and there's branding, and there's all that junk that you do. And then once you get them in the chair, after that is you got to get paid for the work that you do. So I think, so what I typically see, my old consulting days, I would go in and I would look at somebody who had 8 or 9 or 10 months of AR sitting not uncollected. And the majority of it's from insurance companies that are PPOs or whatever. And it's a code, or it's a bundle of a code you didn't use, or it's a narrative they didn't like, or it's some administrative thing.
So dumb.
And it's not like they're you're not going to call them up. They're going to say, well, with the, I'm afraid of getting the coronavirus, so I've shut down my business. They're working. So I always say focus on that. But at the same time, what that does for you is, you're right. You at least have 2 peaks and 2 valleys every month if you're on a bi-weekly payroll.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. That's
big
exactly
chunks
how
going out twice, that you better have big chunks coming in or stabilize that, which is more ideal, I guess.
Yeah, stabilizing is obviously more ideal. And then even putting away some, once you're back in the office, putting money in cash reserves and things like that. I use a percentage-based budget here at BoomCloud, meaning if I get $1 coming in, I'm taking a percentage of that dollar and I'm putting it into a reserve fund. And it's almost automatic, and I mean, it's easier too when any business has a recurring revenue cycle. And again, I talk about cash flow, and I do practice what I preach. We collect our license fees for our software on the 1st and the 15th of each month, right? So and payroll for me is, I think, on the 5th and the 20th for all my employees. So by the 5th and the 20th, we have lump sums of cash every month to spend on payroll, rent, and all of our expenses here at the business, and we kind of have created things as in that cadence of cash flow. And I think that's probably one of the most critical things any business owner could do, is create a system to manage that,
which theoretically works when you're seeing patients. You're saying,
absolutely,
you know, this many X number of patients a day, or I'm seeing, you know, every hygiene chair sees 8 hygiene patients, which theoretically translates to $3 to 1 restorative
Sure.
to hygiene. And if I do that 4 days a week, then here's my cash flow. It's a perfect line.
Yep, it's a
And
perfect line.
except, you know, when the insurance company doesn't pay you for that big case because, you know, they want a little narrative change, or you know, or your PPO drops you to a reimbursement that is 67%. And, you know, docs don't realize that now that becomes unprofitable. And then the other situation is what I'm seeing right now is, you know, a lot of docs in cash flow are looking at this and saying, well, we'll just reschedule these patients who we were going to see for hygiene during, you know, this time of crisis. We'll just push them off till the next visit 6 months from now. What you just took a 3-month slice of revenue.
Yeah,
because
that's
again, the hygiene. So just say you're missing out on the hygiene. That's $100, you know, an hour roughly on average, but you're also missing out again on $3 to 1 restorative. So that's a $400 hour times 8 hours a day times 4 days a week times however many weeks we're doing this by just skipping it. So part of that is the dilemma of that is just like you said, your cadence. I like that. I like the sound of that. Aligning your cash in with your cash out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So I guess the reason that's important for with membership programs for somebody who might not understand what that means is it is a steady flat cash flow, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's steady. It's automatic. If they set it up correctly, you know, in regards to that, for practice owners that don't know what a membership program is, Steve, I can define that real quick.
Yes, please.
A member. I mean, I'm sure everyone listening has Amazon Prime. Do you have Amazon Prime as your drink? Okay, so
I have 5 kids, so we
you got
it. And right now we're like blowing it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are too. So think of a membership program like Amazon Prime, but built for your practice or built for your patient smile. If you want to get real cheesy with it.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically it's a program where a patient pays either a monthly or yearly subscription fee, an automatic subscription fee, to get access to certain benefits and discounts to your practice and your practice only. So that's the definition. And the reason why I'm so obsessed with these things, and I think it probably came from 2 reasons. Growing up in dentistry, where my mom is an office manager still, but she grew up as an office manager, and she would always complain about dental insurance and how it jacked up their accounts receivable and their profit margins. And I'm like, this is weird. And then obviously managing the dental lab during a recession, where I wished I had a recurring revenue stream at that time, because that was a grind. But I think recurring revenue from membership fees and automatic subscription payments is one of the most powerful things that you could build, you know, after this. If you don't have a membership program, if you do have a membership program, it's time to step on the gas. We're seeing a lot of practices doing this now because of the cash flow traits that a membership program brings to the practice, where like I mentioned, it brings in that cadence of cash flow where you as a practice owner have the control over that cadence versus an insurance company, you know, and making sure that you're automating those payments from your patients. And typically what we're seeing out there, Steve, is you know, practices are including, you know, exams, cleanings, x-rays, and some discounts off of restorative care, you know, like crowns and bridges and dentures, things like that. And that's really where the second most powerful thing is. When you set up a membership program, you got your recurring revenue, right? That's coming in every month. And then the second thing is that it does increase case acceptance. We've found that members or patients that become members spend 2 to 3.5 times more with the practice compared to non-members. Right. So they're definitely increasing case acceptance and things like that, which is another cash flow benefit as well. But that's what a membership program is. It's a subscription-based dentistry is another way to call it, and it really allows your practice to cut out, you know, PPOs and build your own cash flow system from your uninsured patient base. Can I talk about some case studies that we're seeing?
I was going to say, and if you real quickly, that's a lot to unpack.
Sure. Yeah.
What I think is important to share, and I have looked into membership programs. I
Sure.
think most practices, most of the really thriving high margin practices that I see have
Sure.
one. Whether
Oh yeah.
it's I mean, they started them 10 years ago, and you had to create your own.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
you do is now they don't have to create their own, but it's basically you as the practice owner set it up, right? You
Yeah.
create your plan.
Yeah, I mean, in our software, we have templates and things they can choose. We give some pointers on what's been successful in the industry. But yes, it's absolutely up to the practice, which is another beautiful thing about a membership program versus, signing the dotted line for a PPO plan and not really understanding what you're getting into. A membership program is you're creating that deal with the patient.
So there's no insurance company in between. There is
No.
It's between you and the patient. There's nothing. Yeah. And, so if you decide as the person who manages or builds or creates the plan, I think it's all software, right? It's all online. You go in and check, here's what I'm going to cover. Here are my fees. Here are the discounts I'm going to give, and Shazam, we've got the Utah Valley Dental membership program.
Absolutely.
It literally is branded as you. So nobody sees Boom Cloud. They see Utah.
They see whatever practice whatever name the practice is, right? And you can upload the logo and things like that to the the software. The only thing, when you see our brand name, it's only the practice that sees it. Like the office manager, things like that. But patients don't.
Back in. So the other thing is, you as the doc, they're like the pre-D is, 10 seconds long. Yes, we're going to do it, or no, we're not going to do it. And the doctor has all the control on that piece of it. So you're deciding what you're getting or not. So AR is, the plan. The other thing is and maybe you can just ballpark, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but like an average fee for an average doc, what would a patient be paying me as Dr. Parker? What would a patient be paying me a month?
So on average we know these stats. I know these stats like the back of my hand. On average, the a yearly plan across our platform goes for $360 a year. So if you were to pay the practice a yearly plan, that's what you would be paying per patient. And then if you're going to pay monthly, the average that we're seeing out there is about $35 a month per patient across our platform. And we're seeing a lot more practices doing yearly plans than monthly plans, which there's obvious reasons for that. It's if you can collect it up front, it just helps cash flow even better. But either way, both plans, a monthly plan and a yearly plan, I think they both have their pros that a practice should take advantage of. Monthly, I really love monthly plans because they are a lower barrier to entry for patients, meaning you can sign up more and more patients. And then it's nice to have that cadence of cash flow coming in every month when you get a big bulk of patients signed up under those plans. The yearly plan is awesome as well because you get all the cash up front. The only downside with that is that it may be it's not an under the radar payment is what I call them, meaning $360 in a chunk of time, and every year comes in. Patients aren't used to yearly subscriptions that size versus the $35 a month. But that's what pricing is looking at for practices out there.
And that's what you mean by, you mean by like cash flow. If I have 1,000 people on a plan and it's monthly, I have $35,000 a month.
Absolutely.
Whether I see them or not.
Whether you see them or not, which is a beautiful thing, especially during COVID-19.
Right. I mean, that money is still coming in. And if a few percent of people can't pay it, it's still a few percent. So out of the 1,000, I still have 900 who are automatically. We're not doing anything. This is happening while we're all asleep. It just, bills us, goes in the bank account.
When you're in Hawaii.
Right. So when payroll hits, it's already covered in that flat line. And the other thing is, when a patient's in the chair and suddenly they need a crown, you've pooled all your patients to where that crown's covered. So you don't look at it and say, gosh, I only get $360 from this patient. Every patient doesn't need a crown every year. So it's like insurance. You're spreading the risk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's similar to that, but the nice thing is when the patient does need a crown, that the patient does get some type of savings for being a loyal member, and which adds to the cash flow for that practice, right? Which is another beautiful thing. It just brings up the cash, which is important. And
Right.
I think, like you said, I like monthly plans a lot better, just because you can attract more patients to that type of plan, being at low barrier to entry, and practice it. I hear this question all the time, Steve. If you're a practice owner, you may be asking, well, if they sign up for 3 months and they've automatically paid for 3 months, what happens if they call in and want to cancel everything? Well, the second thing you want to do is make it so they're signing an agreement for the membership plan that says it's a year plan, but they're paying for it monthly. And then I'd use a payment collection method called ACH, which is direct withdrawals from the patient's bank account. That's going to be a lot more solid approach than trying to, credit cards are awesome. Obviously, I'd encourage those as well. But ACH is just going to be better because it's not tied to expiration dates on a credit card or debit card, and it's a lower fee, merchant fee or processing fee. So that's what I would encourage your practices to do if you can. Just ACH is a wonderful system that we have for collecting payments. But I mean, that's why I love monthly, just because it's low barrier to entry. And it provides that cash flow when you get, like you said, when you get 1,000 patients, it provides that amazing cash flow stream that happens when you're in Hawaii or in lockdown during COVID-19.
Right. And I think they're also in the mindset of the patient. I thought you were going to say a whole lot more, but
Yeah.
in the mindset of a patient, you
Sure.
think in terms of if your employer provides it, it's free, but 9 times out of 10 it's free,
Yeah.
and it's a PPO, and it sucks.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how many times in the practice ownership part of it, you get the call that says, wait a minute, my insurance paid for this. Well, yeah, but your insurance only pays this.
Yeah.
And so suddenly now you're in an argument with your customer over what their employer paid insurance, which is free. And it's free, except, that $1,000 crown is still $950 or whatever. So
Yeah.
so all that goes away. That kind of argument goes away. It's the reason you say, look at your cash flow.
Yeah, all the argument goes away. That red tape goes away from working with patients, and then for the patient, like you said, it does give them unlimited savings versus insurance kind of caps them on what they can get. And if they get, 1 crown, they're capped out already, and they're going to pay cash anyways for it. Right. Which makes no sense. Patients would rather have unlimited savings if they needed the work in a certain year. Obviously they're not going to get it every year. But when they do need it, it's nice to know that you can say this to a patient. Yeah, since you're on a membership program, you're always going to get some sort of savings if you need a crown or whatever. Versus on insurance, the patient's like, oh, I'll only do what my insurance says, but then the insurance caps out at a certain number and then makes it complicated for them to get the treatment that they actually need. Whereas a membership program enables the patient to get the treatment they need versus caps them on what they need, So that's for the patient. There's some benefits there. And then patients are used to paying subscriptions. We live in the subscription economy. I think everybody has Netflix and Amazon Prime and a Costco membership and anything with, I pay a subscription to my car wash to get unlimited discounts on cleaning my car. And we just live in the subscription economy. So people and patients are accustomed to paying, small or monthly or yearly fees to get services. So that's a good thing to take advantage of as well, that mindset.
Yeah. You're not teaching a customer about this. They're already they're used to it, and they're used to X dollars a month. And even, I always tell practice owners, old guys like me, if you don't like millennials, you're in trouble, because they're your patients, they're your employees, they're, that's who they are. And that's how they live and work. They in fact, I have 5 kids, and they're all old, gone and out of the house. Our baby is 20 now. So we officially, as of about a month ago, we have no more we're out of teenagers. That's how they live. They know their income, it's here, and it aligns with their Netflix and their iPhone and their all the things that they do, they just align and they know. So they don't have any of those peak and valley expenses like that.
Yeah, well, then that's another beautiful thing on the patient side. You got the practice side where it does give them that cash flow and the recurring revenue. On the patient side, it gives them an easy way to budget, for their dental care and things like that. So that's, or their entertainment, right? If you're on Netflix,
right?
But yeah, and which is healthy. It's a healthy way of looking at things, because you, as a patient or a consumer, you're looking at and making decisions based off of your budget and being smart about that. So I think that's another benefit that I rarely talk about, just the ease of budgeting for a patient.
And not to jump around too much, but you're the doc, you're the practice owner. This is your plan. So if you don't like the reimbursements you're getting from, Joe's PPO, this is your plan. So you know what you're getting for a crown. You know what you're getting for, you basically know it. Again, it's your number one, it's approved. It's your plan. And number two, you know exactly what you're getting and when you're getting it. There's no surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And all this is an interface, right? I saw one demoed, and I think you might have shown me how you do it. It's like it's all like what do I want to say? Not software, but it's an interface. It's,
there's a dashboard. There's a dashboard that tracks, monthly recurring revenue and yearly recurring revenue, and makes it really easy to for you to see, the metrics of your membership program. Is kind of what we call it, our dashboard, the practice dashboard. Yeah. And then, on that note, let's talk about some case studies with practices
so docs can kind of hear how it really, really works.
Yeah. So we're seeing out there, these membership programs are growing. They are the future of dentistry. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty cool to see, dental membership programs at an early stage and kind of grow with the wave of practices enabling these. But what we're seeing out there is we have a practice that comes to my mind that has really, if you're like getting started launching a membership program right out the gate, right after COVID-19, let's say, it is fairly simple for you to sign up 100 patients in a month to 2 months. A month and a half to 2 months is what we're seeing a lot of practices doing, especially if they're making it really obvious that they have one, educating their existing patients and their existing uninsured patients as well. But within about 8 months, we see, after launching membership program, we see a practice often that hit about $10,000 to $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue from their membership program, which equates to roughly between 400 and 500 active membership patients. And then from there, we've seen practices that get to about a year and a half of actively promoting and talking about their membership program in their office, and we see that they're getting it to around $25,000 in monthly recurring revenue, $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue, which equates to about, some of these case studies, about 1,000 patients, active membership patients, to their membership program. And then we have one practice that comes to my mind, many practices, but the one that I'm thinking of is close to, I think, 45,000, almost 50,000, or on their way to $50,000 in monthly recurring revenue that comes in every month, whether they do dentistry or not. During COVID-19, during their trip to Hawaii, it's coming in automatically. And we're seeing, especially during this time, a question I get all the time that's been a new one for me was, well, haven't you seen more patients cancel their memberships because of COVID-19? And the answer is no. There's been a very small amount of patients that have canceled. And if you think about it, a lot of people are still working. You drive down the street here in Lehi, Utah, which has companies like mine, which are a lot of tech companies. Solution Reach is just 2 blocks down the street here. Weave is just down the street from us. All of them have chosen to a good portion of their team members to work from home. Everyone's still working though. And that's what we're seeing. The patients are still paying for their membership programs, because a lot of them are still working. But if you do have the patient that has been affected by COVID-19, a lot of practices are taking it case by case on in regards to, pushing out their agreement, things like that, you can do pretty easily. But that's kind of what we're seeing out there. If you really push a membership program for about 2 years, you can see a good amount of recurring revenue coming in that's enough to cover your payroll and a lot of your overhead, which should be the goal when creating a membership program. You don't want to just start one and just sign up 20 patients. That's not fun or exciting. You want to get to hundreds or even 1,000 or 2,000 patients that are active on your membership program, because that's going to provide you the cash flow that's going to get you through the feast and famine months. Even in a normal year, you're going to have feast and famine months. This is a kind of a weird year with COVID-19, but even when business becomes normal again, you're still going to have feast and famine months. They may not be as drastic as right now, but you're still going to have them, and you still want to build something, a system that helps you control your cash and get that coming in, so that you can make your payroll and pay yourself and your team members and pay rent and things like that. So that's a beautiful thing of a membership program. It's a cash flow machine for the practice.
So this is a thing that you don't start it today and then say, all right, we're switching everybody. It's as patients sort of flow through your practice and treatment planning pops up, and they need treatment and don't know how to pay for it, or they call and say, do you take my insurance, or I don't have insurance. But I mean, it's another element of it's a yes answer for you, I guess, is what it boils down to. Yes,
absolutely.
Treatment, and here's how.
Yeah, and there's two sides to it. You do want to attract the patients that are coming in, flowing in each day in the practice. That's obviously a no-brainer. What the most successful practices do, we've seen they do that and make it really obvious that they have a membership program, but then they also do external marketing, like direct mail and all the different channels out there. Seems like there's like 1 million different marketing channels to do these days, but social media, direct mail, online advertising, things like that. The practices that are really successful focus on external marketing as well to educate their local community about their membership program. Some practices even do live events at like the 50. Obviously, you can't do that now, but when you get back, they do like the live events at the 55 and up communities that have their HOA and a community center. They'll do live events educating them about their oral health care. And at the end, they say, well, you don't need insurance to come to our practice because we have a membership program, because most people that are 55 and up are either planning on getting retired or that are retired in those communities, and they lose their dental benefits. In fact, I was on a call with an insurance company the other day. I won't tell you who, because I don't know if they'll get mad at me for sharing this. I didn't sign a NDA or anything, so I'm good, I think. But we'll be cautious nonetheless. They said that they lose about 10,000 patients per day in their network to people retiring, because the people that are retiring lose their dental benefits, and they don't, PPOs or insurance companies don't have any solid plans that really help that segment of the market, which I think is a very good segment for dental membership programs, because they lose their dental benefits and they need more dental care as they get older and they age. But the same is true with younger families that want to budget, for membership for their dental care and their kids with membership programs. We're seeing lots of pediatric dentists be very successful with membership programs, because I'm a dad. I'm a dad of 2 girls, and I have a third one on the way, Steve. A third girl.
Congratulations.
This week, actually, my wife's getting induced this week. It's going to be
good.
Crazy. But I take my daughters to the dentist, and their pediatric dentist has a membership program that they're a part of, and I think parents care about their kids, and they want them to be healthy and get the best care that they need, growing up and things like that. So I think on both ends, right? You got your pediatric, patients, you got your adult patients like me who do care about my teeth, and I want to make sure that I stay preventative. But then you get the older adults that are getting ready to retire, which are definitely all 3 prime candidates to membership programs. But that's what I encourage people to do is, yes, as patients come in, talk about your membership program to them, and then do some external marketing as well.
So let me ask you about a kind of a nuts and boltsy thing.
Sure.
And I don't know the answer to this. You may not either. If I take a lot of PPOs, is there a measurement that is, my average, and I don't know, whatever it might be, hygiene visit or whatever fee schedule? Is there some measurement where, here's the PPO and here's a membership plan? Any kind of relative? I mean, obviously you're setting your own fees.
Yeah.
But you don't have to discount them.
Yeah, in regards to fees, is that where you're?
Yeah, for a doc who's looking at it saying, "Well, gosh, I take 27 PPOs." And,
sure, yeah, I've heard that before.
And they're a mess. And I can't remember the number. There was some outrageous number. A friend of mine said that he went in an office and they took, I don't know, 127 PPOs, and he said, I didn't even know there were that many.
They've got their leasing.
80% had like 2 patients. So,
yeah, they've got their leasing programs too, the PPO leasing, which when you sign, for one PPO, then all of a sudden you sign for 30 others from that agreement. It's kind of messed up if you ask me. But so the average PPO discount from what I've been told from insurance experts is roughly around 40% discount.
Right. That's what I've seen.
Yeah. And the average, at least on our platform, I can speak for our platform only. From our platform, we see the average discount anywhere from 10 to 20%.
Okay.
Is pretty standard. So by creating a membership program, you're already increasing your profit margins, quite a bit from what you're receiving from PPOs, So that's kind of what we're seeing out there. And then on top of that, membership patients utilize a membership program far more than they would if they were on a PPO plan. The utilization rates that we've seen are like close to 60%, which is good. You want patients to keep going into the dentist and choosing to get work done. Whereas I think the utilization rate on a PPO plan is like, I think maybe 50% or a little less than 50%, meaning patients are going in, but they're not saying yes to treatment. But on a membership program, patients are going in, you're collecting recurring revenue, and they're saying yes for treatment, which is everything you want, So that's kind of what I've seen out there roughly.
Some of that has to be the ease with which you can do it. Again, there is no pre-D. There is no what's my insurance going to pay. There is no
There's no confusion.
No. For both sides. I mean,
for both sides, there's no confusion for patients. Yeah,
you don't have to run your insurance collections every 90 days and say, holy crap, look at all this we got sitting here in receivables, and hey Jane, go through those. It's just a much smoother thing. So let me ask you this, as we get close to the end here. Do you do demos? I mean, do you do?
I personally don't, but I have a team that does them. Yes.
Okay. Well, if I'm a practice owner sitting out here saying, all right, I know when I come back, I'm gonna have a lot of displaced patients, we'll call them.
Sure.
Because there are a lot of practices that are not coming back.
I'm sure there's going to be a percentage.
Oh, not that they're not good dentists, and I've seen them. I've watched them now, and there's some sort of nuts and boltsy things they're just not doing well. And for example, one of them is just hygiene visits. I mean, I've seen a lot of docs who are scheduling hygiene. They're just skipping this hygiene visit. So if you had hygiene last week,
doesn't make sense.
We'll push it I don't know, October. So, and not realizing that, say this goes on 30 days, you've now missed
cash gap.
Oh my gosh, it's a
massive cash gap.
So for your staff, it's an inconvenience. Darn it, we can't see Mrs. Jones, and when we come back, we're really full, so we'll just skip this one and push you out. Well, that's 3 months of revenue. And that's so that's just say that's a 25% profit margin. You just broke even, and if you're running thinner than that, you're losing money. You can't afford to come back. And that's really where I see the struggle. Not that they're not good dentists, and I see practices that really clinically need to up their game that are just not going to have the ability to do it. So there are going to be a lot of patients who are looking around, and then I also see a lot clinically that they're going to you guys are going to you have little kids. You're going to walk into a practice that was just updated in 1989, and you're going to see a lot of things that are high on your COVID radar right now that are, don't give you a warm, fuzzy feeling. So you're going to look around. So
sure,
there'll be a lot of movement. So this, I guess my point to all that is this is a good opportunity if you're going to expect new patients to come back in and say, listen, my doc either went out of business or they can't see me for 6 months or whatever. And, you know, instead of saying, who's your insurance, or I don't have insurance, but I still need to find somebody, membership plan is a natural way to set them up. Nobody should,
absolutely.
Maybe nobody should be without some way of paying you, whether it be through insurance or a plan.
Sure.
Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah, one, and on that note too, a membership program does increase patient loyalty. So you talked about, you know, patients moving around a lot. We do see lots of patients becoming even more loyal. I mean, a simple question that I always ask when I do my live events or even my webinars is, you know, when you signed up for Amazon Prime, did you find yourself paying more to Amazon, ordering more products and things like that? Most everyone says yes, right? I don't think I've met anyone that says, no, I didn't just join Amazon Prime and not spend more with them. Right. The average Amazon Prime, very similar stats to dentistry, the Amazon Prime member spends 2 times more than a non-member that just goes to Amazon. And
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very similar to dentistry too. You know, like I said, the average membership patient spends 2 to 3.5 times, depending on how good the practice is with case acceptance and conversions there. But it's 2 to 3.5 times, you know, which not, it only creates, you know, patient loyalty, but then that excess of that extra spending, which a lot of the times is very necessary in dentistry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what demos? How does that? Is there? I mean, download information? Can I go someplace if I want to take this time and, you know, tinker around and check out what a membership plan is or how it works?
So with us, our software, you know, helps the practice create, organize, and automate dental membership programs. And you can, of course, can schedule a demo. My team is here working full time, and business as usual for us. Just go to boomcloudapps.com is our website, and there's schedule demo buttons throughout the entire site. We also, Steve, I have a book that I give everybody. It's for free. You can get this. It's how to create and grow a dental membership program. You can go to boomcloudapps.com and it'll pop up, but you can also go to boomcloudapps.com/book, and that's the landing page that will appear. As well, we have tons of other free resources on our website. Multiple books. We have a book that talks about recession-proofing your practice. We have a case study book that talks about how to get to $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue just with membership fees, as well as we've got the Boom Cloud University, which teaches your practice on the concept of a membership program, how to sell it, how to promote it, how to manage it, all the details of everything in the membership space. We teach you, as well as we've got some growth calculators, so that you can go on our website and you can say, okay, if I sign up X amount of patients, let's say I got 1,000 patients and 50% of those is fee for service, or 30%, whatever, you know, you can do some math and say, if I sign X amount of uninsured patients to this membership program, how much recurring revenue will that bring to my practice? So we've got some tools like that are all free to use off of our website.
Okay, cool. And I didn't even, that's a great thing. Even if you're a fee for service practice, you know, that's an easy way so they save money and you smooth out cash flow. Okay.
Yeah. For fee for service, it's fantastic.
I'm going to put that link. I'll make sure that I just wrote it down here. I'll make sure that they get it in here with the video. So that anybody who's interested, and that's where I get a lot of emails. Somebody says, hey, I just watched this. You know, how do I get a hold of this guy? And, you know, it was at the end, and, you know, but we try to make that easy. And,
awesome.
And we don't have, you know, and I also want to make people aware, you know, we don't have any, you know, there's nothing between us other than this is, I think, a good time when you and I have met before, and
we're friends.
I've watched what you've done, and, you know,
sure.
I know that at this time there are things that you can be doing to position your practice for whatever it looks like when the smoke starts clearing and we're coming back.
Absolutely.
To me, membership plans just make sense.
Totally.
You know, however you do it, but I do know that. I mean, I have friends who have really big practices that spent a lot of money to create their own. Which is, you know, you can do that, but it's a lot of money and it's unnecessary and it's a lot of time. So
I mean, even if you create your own software, I mean, here I am running a software company. I never imagined that, software was, you have so much maintenance,
right?
in
Yeah.
regards to software, which is great. I'm cool doing it. And I got an awesome development team that's smart with all the technology and everything. But it's most people think that, software is easy and seamless, and it's just as challenging as dentistry.
Right. It is, except
It really
somebody's
is.
paying for it on the back end. That's the
Yeah.
difference. You're paying
Yeah.
all those developers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, yeah.
So Jordan, this is this is exactly what we're trying to do with Coming Back Stronger, is use this time to educate yourself, inform yourself, even if if you have a membership program that you don't like, you created your own and now you got to update it. Or if you just, if you've never heard of it, never thought of it, and say, wow, this makes sense, and I'd like to get out of some PPOs.
Yeah.
It's just a topic that has caught fire that
Absolutely.
I think you're spot on. It will become a more critical element post-corona, we'll call it, and pre-corona.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's a reason why I have some of the top dental insurance companies calling me interested in what we're doing here, is because it is the future of dentistry. And a lot of these, big insurance companies understand that and know that there's in the US market, over half the United States doesn't have dental insurance.
Right.
And that's growing. It's growing more and more. And I think that's something to also keep in mind as we end this, Steve, is that the market, the demographics in the market for this is bigger than the PPO patient base,
right?
Meaning there's more uninsured patients than there are insured. So that hopefully provides lots of great opportunities for practices post COVID-19.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to me and have questions for me, you can email me at, my email is Jordon, Jordon, at boomcloudapps.com, and that's boomcloudapps.com. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about membership programs. It may take me a minute or two to get in back with you, because my inbox is getting bombarded right now. But I will get back.
That's a good thing. I think, I see both sides. I see a lot of docs who are sitting at home, switching between CNN and Fox News and trying to decide
Sure.
whether the sky is falling or we're going to come out okay.
Yeah.
And then, another half that just says, listen, I've lived through it before. It's going to suck for a while, but it gives me a good opportunity to do a little house cleaning and restructuring and figure out, kind of up my game a little bit when we come back. And
sure,
that's what I personally would like to see every doc do. They went to dental school, and they just want to see patients. They don't want to learn about all this stuff. And so it's a good time to really dig down, as you said, dig down in your cash flow, dig down in your PPOs, and find out.
Understand it.
You might have been running a little sloppy for a long time. I mean, and just not known it. Well, now you have a chance to sort of clean that up before patient flow starts kicking back. So
sure.
Any parting thoughts for anybody who says, wow, this membership plan thing sounds awesome? Any kind of big takeaway?
Yeah, I think really the biggest thing you can do right now is create opportunities for yourself. And how you create opportunities is by launching something new, something like a membership program, and really hustle hard. I learned during the recession of 2008, when it was really down, that the only way that I could survive this is if I hustled hard and I created opportunities for myself and the company that I was working with at the time, which was my dad's dental lab. And the same is true for you. Hustle, work hard, figure out, get educated and trained, and create opportunities for yourself. It's the only person that's going to give you the opportunities is yourself. So that's kind of what I like to end with.
Very well said. Very well. And it's spot on, right on point. So again, practice owners, Jordon Comstock, Boom Cloud. And it's boomcloudapps.com, right? There you go, right behind you.
Boom. Or you can go, we own boomcloud.com too. So if you mess up, it all comes to us.
Well, Jordon, I appreciate it. It's been, I think anytime we see each other is usually at a live event, and that's a whole other, that's a long interview there. is what's going on with live events and when we start to interact. So this is great. And I think anybody who's sitting at home, you don't need to go to a dental show or dental, you don't need to wait until the Chicago Midwinter or the Hinman, which Hinman's canceled. Find something, you can do it now while you're at home. So you can either catch up on Game of Thrones or you can focus on something to help your practice. And
absolutely,
that one gets my vote. So
me too.
I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate a lot of valuable advice, a lot of takeaway, and I hope practice owners who are listening or watching take the time right now to do that. Educate yourself, inform yourself on membership plans. So,
well, I appreciate you having me on this interview, Steve.
Awesome, Jordan. Until next time, we'll see you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Bye.